Hello and welcome to another awesome review. And today we're looking at the Shoto World Fun Action Figure Dragon Ball Super Ultra Instinct Goku. And yeah, so a few things I want to talk about here is one, the packaging for these Shoto figures has changed. They are now smaller, which is a good thing. They don't take up as much space, though they were already small enough. So it's not like they took up so much space before, but I wanted to mention that. Second, this, I believe, at the moment of me recording this anyway, is the only Super Saiyan, not Super Saiyan, the only Ultra Instinct Goku figure that is out as an action figure. I know there's some statues that are either in the work or they're already out, but action figure wise, this is the only one that has been released. I'm kind of surprised. I would have thought Dragon Stars would have actually jumped on that right away. They probably will. It'll probably be in the next series. I wouldn't be surprised. But in the meantime, we have this, and I gotta say, I really, really, really like it. Now, if you don't know what these are about 3¼ inch tall, so they're not in scale with your like GI Joes and stuff. They're a little bit smaller, but they're still really nicely articulated. There are some issues with these figures, but for the most part, they're pretty solid. They don't fall apart super easily, though they do fall apart. So it's kind of a back and forth. You know, none of the hands or any pieces like that will fall off with him posed, but you can pull them off pretty easily, as you guys can see. Though I will say this newer kind of body that they have him on, which is more or less the same as the older one, just it's a lot tighter. Not the pieces, stick on a lot harder than the last one, though you can still pop him apart. So don't be worried if something like that happens. Everything does come together, and like I said, the joints are strong. You don't see like any wiggling or anything like that. So he can hold a pose really well, assuming you can balance him, which I always have issues balancing figures, especially behind camera, but, there you go. You can see he can balance himself and he won't fall over, which is good. So, aside from that, he does come with a pair of fists defaulted on his hands and a pair of Kamehameha hands. Yes, you can use them as catching fist hands, but they're basically just Kamehameha hands. But, anyways, articulation wise, this guy is pretty good. If you see my last review on one of these figures, which was the believe Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, and the Golden Frieza, you'll know that I kind of like the articulations on these figures better than I like the Dragon Star series. Now, don't get me wrong, I like them, they're okay, they're getting better, but these figures, compared to them, it's just a little sad considering, these are only about $5 less. They're a lot smaller, but they move better and for the most part kind of look a little bit better in some regards. Now, like I said, his articulation is pretty good. His head can look up that much, which the fact that his head can look up already kind of beats them in that head department. His head can look down. His neck does move around too, and it does tend to drift to one side, unfortunately, but it's not too big of a deal. He can pivot side to side, as you guys can see. So, head articulation, it's pretty decent. I do wish he could look up just a little bit more, but I mean, there's no problems really there, as you guys can see me messing with it. Arm wise, he can move his arm. Let's see, literally all the way up, all the way down, rotate it around. It is on this extended hinge or peg right here, so it can move back and forward a bit and up and down a bit. So it does give him range to kind of go across his chest right there, which is good. He does have rotation at the upper bicep. He does have a single jointed elbow where, that's probably the weakest aspect is the single jointed elbows. They don't go in too much. It's about 90 degrees, which is fine and all. I do wish it could go in a little bit more, but, again, for the price and everything, it's not too bad, though. I would argue $5 more Marvel Legends style articulation. It's obviously better. Double jointed elbows for the most part. For the size of this, I'm not going to complain, considering that the only competition this thing has is Dragon Star series, that the elbows sometimes are good, sometimes they're not. It's hard to kind of compare and say, that's bad. But again, I do wish it could go in a little bit more. Anyways, at the wrist, they can only rotate. There is no hinge. They do have a little peg here, so exchanging them is no problem. Just peg it out, and then you just peg it in. You can see right there. So really simple. Waist-wise, he can lean back, can lean forward, can go side to side. Not too much, but it's enough. There's a good range there. I do wish he could go a little bit more, but it's not too big of a deal. You can see here there is some paint rub of the blue from his belt on his pants, and it does happen on his actual body too, which is unfortunate. You can wipe it off, so it's not, difficult. It's not deal breaking. It is just more of an annoyance than anything. Leg wise, looking forward about that much. Actually, that much. Goes outwards a little bit, but you can also get a straight kick if you just kind of recenter it. Can kick backwards a very good amount, and he does have that single jointed knee, which does actually pretty good. That's just a little bit better than 90, so can't complain too much. His legs can go out that far, and he does have a little bit of a peg here, so he can hinge side to side. He can go forward and he can go back a pretty good amount, and that's about it. There's you can rotate back and forward a little bit here. It's not really. I'm not saying it's not meant to, but there's no actual uh, turning, cut, or nothing like that. I don't know the words I'm looking for, but yeah, articulation is not a bad figure in the least. I actually really do like this one, and out of the other two I own, he's probably my favorite. Not just because it's Ultra Instinct or anything like that, just because I don't know. I feel like they definitely did a better job. If you saw my other review, you would know that the arm fell off really easy with the other Goku, just posing him, just trying to get him into different poses. Like I just said, his arm would fall off so much, his leg would do something like that. With this guy, not so much. You just saw it does still happen, but again, not as often. And yeah, let's just get on to some size comparisons and then wrap this video up. So for a quick size reference, here he is next to the Super Saiyan God SH Figure Arts Goku. And you can see here, he is just a little bit bigger than half of the SH Figure Arts size. So definitely small, will not mix in with these guys, just a fair warning. But they're still a cool series to collect nonetheless. So here is compared to the other Shoto figures I've already reviewed, the Super Saiyan God Goku and the Golden Frieza. Golden Frieza is leaning forward because his tail makes him too back heavy. Just want to kind of clarify that right now. These two Gokus do share some pieces from what I can tell. The crotch piece, the upper part of the legs, I believe are the same. And the part of the arms from, the bicep down are the same, as well as the fists and hands. Neck joints are different. So I do want to mention this while I have them out here. You can pop this Goku's head off, and you can pop this Goku's head off, but the ball joints aren't the same size. This Goku's is slightly bigger than this one, though if you wanted to, you can kind of just force the Super Saiyan Blue hair onto his body, as you guys can see right there. But you're stretching out the ball peg, so I don't really recommend it too much. Besides, look-wise, the Goku on the left, the Ultra Instinct one, definitely looks a lot better than the Super Saiyan Blue one. I mean, this is way more accurate than this. So if you guys want to do it, it's possible. If you want to put his head on this body, you can put it on there, but it's not going to really fit. So that's a little bit disappointing. I was hoping that the bodies would be interchangeable, but I guess they upgraded them slightly, changed them slightly. See if that pegs back in. It's in there. Another thing I do want to mention is the hands for this Goku that comes with him. Since he does come with some different hands, some style opposing hands, you can technically, if you want, pop that off and put that in there. It does fit. It fits a little bit looser than the hands he comes with, and the skin tone is just about the same, so it will fit in. So if you guys want to do some interchanging of the hands at the very least, that is possible. And yeah, not much else to say here, so let's just move on. So would I recommend this figure? The answer is 100% yes. I know a lot of people aren't going to want to get it just because of the size. It is people like, their 1/12 scale figures. This one I do think is worth it, as well as pretty much every other figure in this whole line series, aside from the originals. The originals are actually a little bit shorter, and they don't look anywhere near as good. But I do like that they're still kind of upgrading the quality. Like I said, his face is actually a lot more accurate than the previous figures. It looks like Goku, and I think that's a really big bonus right there. The hair, the metallic color looks amazing. The articulation for the size of the figure is actually really good. Like I said, in a way, better than Dragon Stars, at least in my opinion. The fact that you can share hands from the other figure, albeit they're a little bit loose, is a bonus. I do wish that the heads were interchangeable a lot easier, because that would just, make it a little bit more fun. You can put different Goku heads on him I don't have any of the other ones to kind of test it out to see if, it's just that Super Saiyan Blue one or not. But still, nonetheless, good figure. Definitely recommend it. The orange looks good. The gi, well, what's left of it looks good. The shredded clothes part. Yes, there is paint rub, but it's not a big deal breaker because you can clean it off, thankfully. The boots look good. Detail wise, perfect. Muscle definition on him looks actually really good. So, overall, I would definitely recommend this figure. Not really much else to say here other than I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you did, hit the like button, comment down below, subscribe for more, and I will see you all later. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.